So this year we're heading back to the 29-acre tract in Illinois, and another giant is in there. This big 180-inch plus deer has shown up. We've got a lot of trail camera pictures of him, and we're just waiting on that perfect storm. You know, we're gonna get the weather right, we're gonna get the moon right, and we're gonna get in there and try and kill this deer. You know, it's a big CRP thicket, and these deer just love to get in there and bed. They feel absolutely secure because they can smell everything to the north of them, and we are just south, and there's a perfect pinch point right there. So it's a deadly trap for them. And you know, anytime we get a north wind, end October, 1st of November, we've got the moon right, we've got some high pressure, and there's a big deer in there, we know we've got a great chance of getting a crack at him. We've got a perfect storm. Everything is lined up great. I get into the stand about 3 o'clock. I look off way in the back of the CRP field, and the big 180-inch deer stands up. He had actually been bedded in there. He's like a bulldozer coming through that CRP. He's rubbing his head on everything. You know, just a deer like this being out in the sunlight, in daylight, it's just a magical moment that's almost like a dream. The anxiety, you know, you've got a world-class whitetail. It's the epitome of what you're after. You know, this big, giant Midwest whitetail, it's incredible. You know, the 29 is such a sensitive property, and so I actually wait until I see the deer before I start trying to communicate with them and, you know, manipulate them and bring them to me. Because if you get in there and you're overly aggressive, you know, with the calling, there's a chance that you might bust something out of there, and it's just not something that I'm going to do on a property that's that small and that sensitive. So I just hit him with a couple short contact grunts to get his reaction, and did just like this. And that was it. That's all I gave him, and he looked right over there at me. He's sticking his head up, trying to check and get a smell, and you know, you can tell he's convinced that there's another buck over there. His senses are on high alert. You know, that's his spot. So after the short grunts, and he stood there for 3 or 4 minutes looking. He didn't see anything. He turned and kept going down the path he was going. So now was my opportunity to be a little more aggressive with him. And I gave him a snort wheeze, you know, knowing that he's the dominant buck in there, and he's probably not going to put up with another aggressive deer in there. So I hit him with a snort wheeze, you know, just with my hand. This right here is how I did it. I gave him one of those, and he started coming my way. He's a big-bodied, mature, you know, just superstar buck. You know, when he hears another challenging call, that snort wheeze, 9 times out of 10, especially that time of year, he's going to come in and check that out, and he's going to be looking for a fight. You know, I could tell he was locked in. He was doing all the classic signs of a big deer that knew there was another buck in the area. He was licking his nose, he was flipping his ears. But like all big mature deer, he was taking his time. He was really being patient, and he was trying to figure out the situation. You know, they don't make many mistakes, and it wears on you. You know, you're in the stand, you want to call again, but you know if you do right then, it's a mistake. He's going to locate exactly where you are. He's too close right then for me to make another call. But I just knew, based on how he was acting and how he was responding to the calling, that he was going to come over there and he was going to end up in range. He's closed the distance to 60 yards, and I cannot take my eyes off of those stickers and those giant antlers. And you know, there's so much going through my mind right now. You know, I've got the bow in one hand, I've got the camera, you know, in the other. I'm self-filming. And instead of coming on that straight path, he makes a little turn and he walks into this really big thicket where I can't see him anymore. And you know, it's time to make a decision. Do I just wait for him to walk out? You know, what do I do? And I decided to give him one more little small grunt because I couldn't see him anymore. And I pointed the call away from me and was as soft as I could be. I just tucked it up under my arm and just gave it a little, and that was it. I let go of the call, grabbed the camera back, had my bow up, and boom, he comes right out of the thicket, coming right to me. And as soon as I shot him, I got the camera right back on him, and we got him going down, and the celebration began. The whole thing was just an amazing experience, and one that I will remember forever. This is something else. I mean, 2 years in a row, 2 giant bucks. I'm a little bit speechless, which is a little bit weird for me because normally I can talk your ears off. I just want to sit here and admire him for a little bit. You know, really the keys to this hunt were, again, you know, you're hunting the 29, and we knew there was a big mature buck in there that we had our sights set on. So that's the first thing, is knowing that there's a big one in there to hunt. The second one is putting the time or setting the timing up of when you're going to get in there and kill him. And we refer to the moon guide. You know, we look at that to set our dates, you know, that end of October, 1st of November time frame, when they're wanting to be up anyway. And then you couple that with great weather and those red moons, and it's deadly. It's a deadly combination. So the timing to get in there after you know he's there is definitely a key to this hunt. And then finally, the communication. You know, I don't think I would have ever killed this deer had I not grunted at him, had I not snore-wheezed and challenged him to come in and fight. And then also, you know, knowing when not to call. You know, when he was out there in the open 60 yards, if I had tried another grunt or something like that, he would have pinned me down and I would have blown it. So I did get that final grunt in when he got in that thicket, but he couldn't see me and he was walking through it making noise. So it was just a perfect opportunity to give him that final little grunt, and that's what turned him and brought him right to me. So those were definitely the 3 keys to the success of this hunt.
The Deer Hunter's Moon Guide tells you the best days, times, and locations to encounter a mature buck on his feet during daylight hours. Are you tired of hunting nocturnal trail camera bucks? Do you ever wonder why bucks only show up during daylight on certain days each year? The Deer Hunter's Moon Guide is here to help. The Moon Guide is unlike any other lunar tool you've ever seen. It's not related to the moon's phase. The Moon Guide utilizes elements such as the moon's gravitational pull, position, and other scientific elements that affect deer movement. Simply spin the Moon Guide dial to find the peak hunting times and best hunting locations for improving your chance of encountering a big buck on his feet. Save time and money by knowing the best days and weeks each year for effective preseason scouting, scheduling time off work, or planning out-of-state hunts by focusing on the Moon Guide's red moon periods. Get yours today at deersociety.com.